Operations constantly evolve and constantly change, but by registering today, that will start the process for assistance if and when you need it. Today, we will be joined by Jessica Silver, Buncombe County Environmental Health Program Manager, to talk about restaurants, childcare, and wells. And we will also be joined by Wayne Goodman, Commissioner of the North Carolina DMV. First, we will turn things over to County Manager Pinder to kick us off.
Good morning. I'm happy to announce that tomorrow, Wednesday, October 22nd, that will be 23rd. Today's the 22nd. So tomorrow, Wednesday, October 23rd, Buncombe County will reopen to the public with regular business hours, with the exception of most parks and 3 libraries. Only North Buncombe Fields and Hominy Valley Park would open. All other parks remain closed. All libraries will open with the exception of Oakley Library, Swannanoa Library, and Pack Library. Mobile library and parks programming will be announced in the coming days as plans are finalized to bring these services to communities. Our community care stations continue to be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and have showers, laundry, food, and in some cases, medical care, all available at no cost. The locations for these community care stations are A.C. Reynolds High School, At Home Store, which is in a parking lot, Big Lots Innsbrook Mall, Buncombe County Sports Park, Bethel United Methodist, A.C. Reynolds Middle School, Ingalls Swannanoa, and Morgan Hill Baptist Church. We have also opened a community care station today at the Owen Pool in Swannanoa. The laundry station is still being set up, but they are working to get that piece up and running as soon as possible with the goal of this evening. A boil water notice for all City of Asheville water customers is still in place, meaning this water must be boiled vigorously for 1 minute before consuming, including drinking and cooking. This water is safe to shower in, but still please use bottled or boiled water for brushing your teeth. Food and water distributions are at Skylands Bowling Alley, Black Mountain Ingalls, Fairview Elementary, Swannanoa Ingalls, Linwood Crump, Shiloh Community Center, Pat Square Park, Buncombe County Sports Park, and A.C. Reynolds Middle School. As of this morning, there was 127 Duke Energy customers in Buncombe County remaining without power. Spectrum has restored service to 90% of their customers, but in some places, repairs are taking longer than expected for about 10,000 customers. An update on early voting. Early voting sites are open every day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The ballot, weight maps, and other voting information can be viewed at buncombecounty.org/vote. That is buncombecounty.org/vote. Early voting location sites include Black Mountain Library, East Asheville Library, Anchor Candler Library, Fairview Library, South Buncombe Library, West Asheville Library, UNCA, University of North Carolina, Asheville Health and Counseling Center, Weaverville Community Center, Leicester Community Center, Dr. Wesley Grant Southside Center. An update on solid waste. This week, Waste Pro is running normal routes for trash and recycling where accessible. The landfill is open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The transfer station is open 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can bring residential bag trash and household recycling to the transfer station. Regular fees apply. Today, you can drop off bag trash at AB Tech Anchor from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and tomorrow, Wednesday, at Owen Pool. If you want to drop off recycling, you can do that at Curbside Management, located at 116 North Woodfin Avenue, Asheville, between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. That is Monday through Friday. There's a drop-off area just inside the gate. An update on DSNAP. Buncombe County residents can apply for help buying food through the Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as DSNAP. The deadline to apply is in 2 days. That is Thursday, October the 24th. Individuals and households not currently receiving food and nutrition services benefits who are impacted by Hurricane Helene can apply for DSNAPs. So even if you didn't have benefits before, but you were impacted by Helene, you can apply for DSNAPs. You can apply in person at Buncombe County Health and Human Services. This is at 40 Cox Avenue in Asheville from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The application process can also be started online by pre-registering at epass.nc.gov. That is epass, epass.nc.gov, and then call in the DSNAP call center at 844-453-1117. That's the DSNAP call center at 844-453-1117. On donations. Due to the incredible outpouring of support, organizations throughout Buncombe County have received an influx of donations like clothes, shoes, and blankets. We can't accept anymore because we simply don't have the resources available to store and distribute them. We encourage anyone who wants to assist to make financial contributions to reputable organizations supporting Helene response. The sentiment extends to volunteers as well. We have a strong presence with FEMA and emergency response teams from across the state and across the country. The county doesn't have opportunities available right now for volunteers to work outside of the emergency response structure. We want to respect people's time and energy, so we gently ask that they only come if government agencies request their presence or if they have a pre-arranged opportunity with community organizations. And with that, I'll ask Jessica Silva, Buncombe County Environmental Health Program Manager, to come.
Good morning. To help food service establishments reopen as quickly and safely as possible, Buncombe County Environmental Health launched a new simple emergency operations plan for food establishment form operators can complete and submit online at buncombecounty.org/EH. Environmental Health has processed and approved 276 streamlined emergency operation plans for food establishments since Thursday of last week. We continue to visit those establishments to ensure compliance with the details provided in the emergency operations plan. We are also working with the Division of Child Development and Early Education to assist child care centers with reopening. At this time, we have received 42 emergency operations plans for child care centers. We have reviewed 40 of those and approved 32 plans. Approved plans are shared with the licensed child care consultant responsible for completing the final review. After the final review, Environmental Health will make a site visit to complete the reopening process. Since Helene, Environmental Health has received 900 water sample applications. While most of these wells were not directly affected by the flood water or damaged by the hurricane, these water sample applications have provided peace of mind for those relying on wells for drinking water. We would like to continue to provide the same peace of mind to everyone while shifting our focus to those wells who were flooded or damaged during the storm. As part of the direct consumer water testing program in collaboration with the North Carolina Division of Health and Human Services, Our office will begin screening water sample applications to determine if the well was flooded or damaged. For wells that meet this criteria, we will provide disinfection kits and water sample collection kits. Environmental Health highly recommends you apply for a well water test only if your well was flooded or damaged. If your well was not flooded or damaged, please consider waiting to submit your application for a water sample. This will allow our office to prioritize our recovery and response activities to help those in our community most impacted by the storm. If you have questions, you may reach out to Buncombe County Environmental Health by phone at 828-250-5016 or through email at ehrequest@buncombecounty.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Now we'll hear from Wayne Goodman, Commissioner with the North Carolina DMV.
Good morning, everybody. I'm North Carolina's DMV Commissioner Wayne Goodwin. Thank you for having me here today for this briefing to provide an update on DMV services in Western North Carolina. First, I would like to let the people know of Western North Carolina that my thoughts and prayers have been and will continue to be with you and your families as we recover from this catastrophic storm. Together, we will recover. I'd also like to thank all the people that have been helping with the recovery efforts, especially those that are also dealing with these impacts themselves. This includes our dedicated DMV staff that not only work here in Buncombe County and in Western North Carolina, but are a part of these affected communities and have had their own lives and families impacted. At its peak, we had 25 driver license offices and 28 license plate agencies throughout Western North Carolina closed due to impacts from the storm. Over the last 3 weeks, we have worked that down to less than a handful. Now that the water service has been restored, we were able to reopen our Asheville driver license office on Patton Avenue yesterday, and we are very pleased with that. And I know the community is very excited to have that back open again. In fact, yesterday we had 124 transactions, and as the word gets out, and through this conversation with you today, we want the word to get out so that more customers will be able to access that very essential service of having IDs and driver licenses and other things that the DMV provides. Now, whereas we have reopened the Asheville driver license office, again, starting yesterday, and I was there this morning and on site, and there was not a line, but there were people there. So people are getting the word. We do have 2 driver license offices in Western North Carolina that have not yet reopened. And they are Burnsville, which will reopen once water services again available, but it's also being used as a community relief center. So there's a lot going on there in Burnsville as to when that will reopen as the relief efforts and the reopening efforts throughout that community take place. And the second one is the driver license office in Spruce Pine, which is a part-time office open on Mondays and Tuesdays. It is still being repaired post-Hurricane Helene. Now, that's the driver license side of the ledger. Now let's look at the license plate side of the ledger, license plate agency side. All our license plate agencies have reopened except for Marshall, which, as we all know, that community suffered extensive damage. Both of our privately operated Asheville license plate agencies, though, reopened a couple of weeks ago. So now that most of our offices have, in fact, reopened and are providing this essential service that the DMV provides to Western North Carolina and throughout the Tar Heel State, let's talk about the delivery of your credentials, because a lot of folks cannot receive mail service. And because certain areas are without mail service, we have designated our open driver license offices as credential pickup centers. If your license or ID card cannot be delivered to you by mail, you can return to the location of your in-person transaction after 21 days to personally pick up your credential. And then there are some communities we've learned today that we actually are hand delivering credentials to folks' homes. So we are trying to provide as great public service and as we can in customer service to our customers. If you complete or have completed your renewal or order or have ordered a duplicate license or ID online or at an office that hasn't yet reopened, please visit our website to see where your credential can be picked up. Again, we ask that you allow at least 21 days from the date of your transaction to see if it can be delivered to your home or for it to arrive at the designated office for pickup. Now, I'm getting ready to give you a website address, and I'm going to probably say it more than once because it's a long address, so you may want to write this down. All these details can be found at ncdot.gov/WNC credential pickup. ncdot.gov/WNC credential pickup. Now, I mentioned the driver license office side of the ledger and the license plate agency side of the ledger. There's actually yet another side of the ledger, and that's our law enforcement portion of DMV. Yes, we are the oldest statewide law enforcement agency in North Carolina. Been around since 1921, and we are still on the job helping. And I want to give a shout out to all of our DMV License and Theft Bureau officers and colleagues. Again, they are our law enforcement arm. From soon as we could be here, they have assisted with 17 law enforcement support requests as part of the recovery effort in Western North Carolina. We have deployed 121 personnel to Western North Carolina, 59 of which have been deployed more than once, spending days and weeks away from their families in other parts of the state. We have another 8 members that have assisted with the State Emergency Operations Center and the like. And currently, we have 25 members deployed, with 5 or more set to be deployed again on November the 1st. So our law enforcement side of the ledger for DMV will continue to help as much as possible logistically with Western North Carolina as we rebuild and recover. This concludes my report. I want to thank you again for allowing me to be here to share this essential information with our Western North Carolina community, and I'll be happy to stay around to answer any questions that folks here or online may have. To learn more about DMV and what we provide, please go to myncdmv.gov. I'm Wayne Goodwin, North Carolina DMV Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. I did get some breaking news while we were sitting here. And in a good way, Pack Memorial Library will be able to open tomorrow on a regular schedule. So Pack Memorial Library will open. The special collections will remain closed. Those staff have been diverted elsewhere in the organization, but Pack Memorial Library will open. So that leaves only 2 libraries, Swannanoa and Oakley, who will not be able to open tomorrow on that regular schedule. At this point, we will open it up to questions from the media. I do want to acknowledge that we have representatives here from the city of Asheville if we have questions that pertain to areas of their purview.
Hi, this is Victoria Fatterson with the Asheville Watchdog. I just have a question about water testing. I'm just curious as to whether, what exactly are officials testing for in the water? How often is testing happening? And if they're seeing any improvements in the test results at all? Thanks so much.
All right, Clay Chandler is here.
So that question is timely for a couple of reasons. Number one, my portion of tomorrow's briefing will be to walk you through the part of our website where we're going to start posting our real-time water sampling results. What else are we testing for? Did you ask that? What are we testing for? Is that part of your question?
What exactly are you guys testing for? Yeah.
So every day at the source, which means at the facility the water comes out of, and dozens and dozens of locations throughout the system, we test for chlorine, total coliform, and E. coli. That's every single day. Once a week, we test at the source for aluminum, iron, and manganese. Now, that testing will increase in frequency for aluminum, iron, and manganese to daily once we start the second round of the treatment process at North Fork Reservoir next week. I know I said yesterday that we were hoping to get that off the ground by Monday. It's now looking like it won't start until Tuesday of next week, which is another good example of how timelines can get you in a bind. But yeah, once that second round of testing starts at North Fork for at least a week, we will test daily for aluminum, iron, and manganese.
And are you seeing any improvements in the test results so far?
We haven't seen levels of anything that exceed what's called secondary MCLs, which is secondary maximum contaminant limits. So those are the limits in drinking water set by the EPA.
And just last question, thanks so much. Have there been any reports of people getting sick from the water? We did get an email from a resident saying that the water kind of flared up her lupus. Are you hearing any, getting any results or any reports at all?
We have not been contacted by either medical facilities, including Mission Hospital or the Buncombe County Health Department, of anything like that.
Thank you so much, Clay. Appreciate it.
Hey, Clay, while we have you, it's Laura Lee at BPR. Given that Mills River is up and running, is there any way, we had this question from a listener, to sort of block that off and use the Mills River water source, since North Fork, it appears, is going to take some time to actually get clean, so that the 20% or roughly 20% could be served with that clean water?
So theoretically, in a perfect world, yes, we could do that. Now, the problem with that is using our system of 18,000 valves throughout the distribution area, we can generally direct the flow of water. We cannot totally control it. There will be bleed over among the service area boundaries. And for example, let's say there is a major water line break in the Mills River District. When that happens, or if that happens, it has not happened yet. Let me be clear about that. If that happens, that water is going to be replaced by water from North Fork. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically no.
Yeah, yeah. Short answer, no. In a perfect world, yes. Under the logistical and operational confines that we have to work under, not possible.
And is there any other, are there any other workarounds in place? Because it sounds like, again, no time frame, and we're looking at a long haul here. Any other workarounds for getting drinkable water out before just waiting on North Fork?
So I think somebody asked yesterday about the possibility of mobile or portable treatment units. I talked with our U.S. Army Corps of Engineers representatives yesterday after the briefing. And best case scenario, if we stacked, I think it was like 12 or 13 of those mobile units right next to each other at North Fork, the most treatable water as far as millions of gallons per day we could push out of there would be about 10 million gallons. That is less than half of what North Fork is pushing out right now. So it's a simple math problem.
But that would be drinkable water.
That would be drinkable water, but a lot of it would be taken up by things like fire flow and general sanitation. The pressure would be much, much less out of your tap or out of your faucet than it is right now.
So am I hearing you say you're not gonna go that route?
We just don't think it's mathematically feasible. No.
Thanks.
Hey, while you're up there, Ben, if I can ask a quick question. Not sure if this is for you or not, but we've had some questions from folks about bacteria
Charles?
testing. Not
Charles?
Yes.
Clay Chandler, not Ben Woody.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. It's been a long day already.
No worries. I get it.
Hey, we've had some questions from folks about bacteria and testing, not just with respect to water, but with respect to mud. If you're cleaning out mud, do you or does someone up there know, maybe Lillian, you're the one to ask here, what are the standards? What are the precautions? And also, what's being done with the mud itself?
I'm going to turn that over to the mud expert.
Thank you.
It's the first time I've ever been called that. So when it comes to mud, we want to make sure that if you are trying to clean out your home, that you are using PPE like we have shared in previous briefings. So wearing gloves, goggles, respirator, N95, wear a mask, make sure you're not inhaling those particulates, long pants, long clothes, and boots. And so that's where we need to make sure that you are taking personal precautions if it's in your home or if it's in your property. If you're working on a restoration project in an area like along the river, please ensure that you are working with the appropriate agency, right? We all want to chip in and we all want to help, but we need to make sure that we're working with those approved agencies so that they are also ensuring that all of that compliance is being managed on their end. When it comes to the mud, again, we have the debris cleanup with SDR. And so we're working that mud that is in main areas through that SDR debris cleanup route.
All right. So if somebody's cleaning mud out of, say, their basement, out of the first floor of their home, they're shoveling it out, they're putting it out in the driveway. Is there something that's recommended for them to do with it? I mean, other than put it in a nearby creek, you probably don't want that. I mean,
Do not put it in a nearby creek. So
thank you.
all of the debris goes into the public, into that right of way so that it can be collected by the debris collector.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yep. Additional questions? Anyone in the chat, Angelica?
We have an interesting one on social media, and I think Jessica Silver would be the best one to talk to about this. And this is specifically asking about short-term rentals in our area and whether or not they can open up for services if they're on city water, and who handles that? Who should people direct their questions to?
That is an interesting one that I don't have an answer for at this moment. So sounds like, just to reiterate, this is a short-term rental in the city limits,
I think it's in the county limits,
in the county,
but is
city
served by
water.
city water.
Okay, we will follow up on that. That's a great question.
Hey, Lillian, it's Laura again. I think you said there would be a representative from the sheriff's office today. Is that person there?
We do not have a representative from the sheriff's office today, and I don't remember saying that. We'll invite them to come. I did see some questions coming up in the Facebook chat around roads. We have invited the DOT to come join us to talk about rebuilding county roads. Also questions about where to get hot meals. I can tell you today at 2 of the community care stations, Operation Barbecue Relief, which is, there's some good Kansas City barbecue coming our way. They are set up at Big Lots at Tunnel Road from noon to 5. So that community care station also has hot food. And then also the Buncombe County Sports Park, beginning at noon, they're offering free hot meals for folks who want to go there. Take advantage of our laundry and showers while you're there. If you want, fill up those water bottles and get some nice warm barbecue. Any additional questions?
Lillian, is there any update from Spectrum?
So like Avril shared in her comments, Spectrum's at 90% restoration. In Swannanoa, where I live, last night, we were so excited that our router stopped blinking and just remained one solid color. And so I was able to catch up on the Great British Bake Off for the first time. So they are continuing to work. They're at 90%. They have about 10,000 customers who remain offline in Buncombe County. And I believe I saw the number statewide was 98% restoration. So there are some tricky ones, especially out in those areas like Swannanoa, where fiber infrastructure was completely pulled out of the ground, but they are continuing to make that progress and don't have a identified date for 100% restoration at this moment.
We also have a question for Clay. Can you remind us the testing you're doing? And we have a specific question from Helen Chickering, BPR, about whether E. coli is being tested in the water.
Yes.
Yes, we test for E. coli every day at the source, meeting at the plant, and at several dozen locations throughout our system. That is done daily.
Just Victoria with the watchdog, and I'm so sorry, Claire, I know you're about to get off. I just wanted to ask specifically, you said the secondary maximum contaminant limit. Can you tell me what that is, exactly what that limit is?
So for aluminum, the secondary MCL, which means the highest it can be in drinking water, is 0.2 parts per million. Generally under normal conditions, we are well under that. And I think the highest we have gotten off the top of my head since we did the in-reservoir treatment process is 0.098. So not quite 0.1.
Okay, thank you so much.
Looks like we have no other questions in the chat. We do have City of Asheville scheduled for their water update and regular city updates again tomorrow, Wednesday. I want to remind folks that tonight there is a vigil at Pack Square Park at 6 p.m. There will be sign language interpretation available as well as Spanish language interpretation available. That begins at 6 p.m. at Pack Square Park. We will look forward to seeing y'all back here again tomorrow, Wednesday, same time, 11 o'clock for your next community briefing.